Yo, it's the mobile game guy here, back again with another video. Today, we got us another video on our hands. I actually don't remember the last time I made a video. That's not a stream, but that's not the point. The point of today is we got another story time video for y'all. Now, I sat here for a few days thinking, what did I want to make a story about? You see, because I've done a lot in my life, so we had to think about this. So I have an interesting story. One day, this takes place actually after school. I think it was my freshman year. After school, and I was hanging out with some people that I normally don't usually go in the same crowd with when it comes to after school. Usually, I'm a band guy. I wouldn't say I'm a band kid, just because I don't act like those said people. We all know the stereotypes, but that's not the point. What I'm saying is, I usually hang around people in band, not usually the people I was hanging out with. So I was hanging out with some people that normally isn't in my crowd, but for now, we're gonna call them. Should these names be? Okay, I got it. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna go Sean, and we're gonna call. So let's give them a description real quick. So Sean is really big dude, super muscular, super tall dude, and we're gonna go with uh we're gonna go with Javier because he was actually a Spanish dude. So Javier, kind of around my height, 5'8". He was he had like curly hair, like super curly hair, kind of looked like a fringe of some sort. But anyways, it was after school. I went home, and then I had to go somewhere after. So so instead of staying after school, I went with those two people, with Javier and Sean. So us three, we were like, we got something we had to do after school, but we didn't do it. This story is about skipping skipping after school that was necessary. Okay, and how we got our asses whooped after. So my freshman year, we, me, Sean, and Javier, we were both, we were all three of us failing geometry. We all had different classes, but we were all three failing geometry. The difference was Javier was in my school, but Sean wasn't. So Sean didn't go to my school, but Javier did. And I saw the dude, and we would talk about it. We were like, "Oh my god, we're failing this class." And Sean, because all three of us we were in this little group chat, and Sean, he would talk to us. He was like, "Is it just me, or are you guys getting your asses whooped by geometry?" And we had to look at each other. He was like, "We were just talking about this. This is exactly what is going to happen." So we said, we're being teenagers, dumbass teenagers to be exact. We all had a tutor this week, and we didn't go. We didn't go. And the crazy part was we had a test this week, or me and Javier had a test this Friday. This actually takes place on a Tuesday. I remember this exactly. So this is on Tuesday, and we had a test on Friday, and we were supposed to get a tutor for geometry, aka one of the geometry teachers at our school. They were going to tutor us. They gave us this pass. It was like this orange kind of like salmon color pass, and we had to go to the tutor. Well, me and Javier, we got our pass to go, but then Sean gave us a call. He was like, "Amari, hey Javier, we were just talking. We were talking about going somewhere after school because Sean didn't think we had anything huge this week. And then when we told him we had a test, he was like, "Oh, you guys should probably study for that test. Aren't you guys failing geometry as well?" He was like, who cares?" Um, in my head, I definitely care. Yeah, a 60, a 65 in geometry is not gonna make my mom happy. And considering the fact that, well, Yeah. uh, Black moms don't usually play about failing classes. They will be on that ass consistently, making sure you are passing that class to their criteria. Especially my mom. She is on me consistently, making sure I pass these classes, which is perfectly respectable because you're supposed to be passing your classes. Warner note: I don't consider skipping school, skipping after school tutoring, or being a dumbass and goofing off in class. But that is exactly what I did. I did the second one, and this is how this story even happened. So Sean drove his ass over here because he just got his license. So he drove his ass over to Collinsville Park. Me and Javier was after school. We're walking to the park, and it's us three. We're chilling. We just so Sean, he ordered some food, and then after that, we hopped in his car, and we went to this other area after. So after the tutoring, I actually had a football game that day that I had to go to for band. And one thing I didn't realize was I didn't think I was gonna be there on time. So I looked at Sean. I was like, "Yo, we might have to cut this short. I gotta go back to the school. I got something I had to do." And he was like, "I got you. Just let me know a time, and we'll be there." He's like, "For sure." So we're on our way. So we just left Collinsville Park. We went to a McDonald's because yes, that's where broke teenage high school students go. They go to McDonald's. I say this because I am one of them, but that's not the point. The point is that we went to McDonald's, and after McDonald's, we met this person. We met another dude who went to Sean's school. We're gonna call him Xavier, and Xavier was the complete opposite of Sean. He was a small dude. He was toned, but he was not like big. Like if you saw this dude in person, you'd think like, oh yeah, he's got muscle, but I'm not scared to like get in a fight with this dude. So and well, Sean had already had beef with this guy for reasons that I actually don't know still to this day. But apparently Javier and Sean had talked about this in the past. I just didn't know. True friends I got. But that's not the point. The point is that Sean had beef with this guy, and he didn't think he'd see him at the school. And we didn't think we'd see him at the school either. But there was one thing we all had agreed. This dude Xavier was ugly as fuck. And I wanted to make a joke because that's the kind of dude I am. I'll joke around with some people if I want to. But so I made this joke because there was this girl sitting across the McDonald's that we were at. And we were like, yo, you see that girl over there in the corner? Sean was like, oh yeah, she goes to my school. And me and Javier looked at each other. He was like, this is it. This is the time. So we had to make this dude Xavier look like a complete fool of himself. And so what we did was me and Javier we looked at each other because Javier is probably the only dude I know that could pull whatever chick he wants. So like no matter what, pull whatever chick he wants to. So I looked at him and he was like, and he looked at Xavier and I was like, I bet you cannot get that girl's number. And if you do, we'll buy you whatever you want here. If you don't, you got to get all three of us what we want. So we made the deal. We got it situated. And what this dude Xavier really did, he thought he was the shit for a little bit. And we had to remind him that he was not. So we looked at him, me and Javier, we hear about it, start bursting out laughing because this dude walked over there like the shyest anime character you will ever see on TV. He had his little like, he had this fucking like, it was the funniest shit I ever seen. So we looked at each other and we were about to start laughing in tears. But Sean, on the other hand, Sean wasn't paying attention because he was over there, he was eating his shit, and he didn't want to look at that. He didn't want anything to do with him because, like I said, they had beef. Fair enough. We don't want to extend beef in a public McDonald's. I mean, it's pretty fair. honestly. But me and Javier looked like we were about to die of laughter. And he walks over, he's like, hey. And the girl looks at him with the, if y'all have seen Inside Out, you know the disgust persona? That is the exact face she had when she saw her face. She saw his face. I was about to blow up, dude. Oh my, it was hilarious. She had like, okay, let me describe what she looked like. I'm not gonna give you a name because I can't think of a name right now. Actually, yes, I can. We're gonna call her Jess because she is a little bit important towards the ending. But we're gonna call her Jess. She doesn't go to my school. She doesn't go to the Javier school. So, and then we looked and we saw Jess look at Xavier, and as Xavier tried to ask for that girl's number, Jess looked at him with the most disgusted look ever, man. I referred to the disgust persona a little bit, like if like maybe like a few like some seconds ago. That was perfect, crystal clear look if I've seen it. And she didn't even give him any words. She looked at him, giggled, and looked away. And I was like, damn, that is tough. Because let me talk about this Xavier guy. According to Sean, this dude was the most confident motherfucker in the history of confidence. If you ever think of somebody with a huge ass ego, think of this dude. And to watch him get his ego shattered like that was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. Because I love shooting egotistical assholes down. It is great humor at the end of the day. And speaking of humor, me and Javier had our daily glass of humor for one day. So I looked at so Jess looked over here because she saw that she was friends. Xavier was our so-called friend, and so while that was happening, I got a text from somebody who's in band. He was like, "Yo, call time's about to start in like 30 minutes. Where are you at?" And I was like, "Shit, the story cannot go on much longer, can it?" And here's the funny thing: Javier wasn't in band, Sean wasn't in band, Jess wasn't in band, but we were fighting. Our football game was fighting Jess, Sean's, and Xavier's school. So me and Javier, we looked at each other. We were like, "Oh yeah, we're about to get our asses whooped, aren't we?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure. We're going to lose this game for sure." But that is okay. That's not why I go to football games. I go to football games to play my instrument and have fun. So, because I already know that our team is going to get our asses whooped 9 times out of 10 games. So by this team. So I look at Sean. He's like, "Yo, it's that time. We gotta hit the dip." And so we I leave. Well, we leave, and then we're off. So the funny thing was, this is a home game. So they were staying here. So it was kind of ironic that we already saw them here. So I already saw Sean, Jess, and Xavier here. So me and Javier, we hit the dip. We go back to our school. I get ready for the game. I do whatever. The game starts. First, second quarter. We're getting our backs blown out the whole game. And then halftime comes around. So in the marching band, we play our little thing. We play our show. Whatever factors we have of it. And then we go eat. Or we go wait a little bit just in case the other school's doing their show. Yada yada yada. That's going on. And third quarter hits, we go. And so we're going, but then I see Javier. And so I meet up with him, and he looks at me with the he looks at me like Kevin Hart, like he was just in a room with Duke Dennis, Phantom, Kevin Hart, and Kai Cenat. Like this dude has tears all over his face, but is laughing the entire time. And he comes to me, he's like, "Amari, yo, you were down there performing, you missed it. Also, killer performance, by the way. 2, you missed the funniest shit ever, dude." And he tells me, he's like, "So, Jess, you heard Jess, the one we met at the McDonald's?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about her?" So, them three, they're all here. They're not playing the football game, but they're here. Like, Jess isn't a cheerleader. Sean and Xavier, they're not on the team. But they're here. They're watching the game. And I looked at him. I was like, okay, what happened? So he was like, I went to go sneak over to the visitors team to go hang out with Sean during the game. And I see Xavier trying to go ask out Jess after she said no to him like hours ago, thinking something was gonna change just because they're at a different scenery. And this time, she had this full blow up. Instead of just looking at him, nodding her head no, and then just leaving, she had a full ass blow up. And apparently, he recorded it. So he shows me the video. And after showing me the video, I see why this dude is laughing in tears. Like he just came out with the 4 funniest people in the entire earth that I just named earlier. So I go over to the visitor side. So I was like, I got some time left. I'm not buying food. I got some time left. So I go over here. We see Sean, and Sean is having a fucking blast. Not because he's enjoying, not because the game is going on, but because he just watched Xavier get the craziest rejection he's ever seen. Mind you, they still got beef. So after watching him, Xavier walks up to Sean, and then they just start fucking like brawling. But there was nobody around, so it was only me and Javier who saw this fight. And Javier, he was recording it, and so we saw that fight, and then I looked at him and was like, what is this dude Xavier doing? What is he on? Because there's no way he just tried to throw hands with a dude who's 6'3", 230. Meanwhile, he's like 5'6", 150. Honestly, I respect the courage because that takes some insane courage to beat up a dude who's a good 10 inches taller than you. On top of that, weighs 80 more pounds than you. Bro is lifting this dude mid-fight like some damn curls. He's over here. And I just slamming that dude to the ground. And I watched that. That was the most public embarrassment I have ever seen during a fight in my life. Like, I've seen people, they be getting tossed. I've seen people get fucking pile driver. I've seen people get suplexed. Hell, I've suplexed somebody. Like, and it's to watch them get lifted up like a fucking curl or like a bar and then get dropped on his head. That was one of the funniest things ever. I wish I took a video of it, but I didn't because I left my phone in the bin where we kept all of our music. So I came back over laughing in tears, and then the people in my bed are just like questioning us, like, nothing happened, dude, nothing happened. But I'm still laughing in tears. And Javier, he walks back to like the people he was with. Same thing happens. And then so we watch the rest of the game, yada yada. I walk back to the van room. We get ready. We're leaving, and then I see Javier again, and he sent me the fight that we just watched, but he sent it to me on an app I don't own, so I actually don't have the fight. But anyways, this all happened. We figured out this whole thing because we skipped tutoring. You're probably wondering what the hell that had to do with skipping tutoring. Well, if we never skipped tutoring, 1, we would have passed our fucking geometry test. 2, we wouldn't have gotten our asses whipped. And I think I said earlier that this took place on a Tuesday. I'm not sure why it took place on a Friday. And then the test was next Friday. I don't know why I said it took place on a Tuesday. I don't think my head was thinking straight for a second. Anyways, moral of the story, don't skip. I'll tell you, some funny shit happens if you do. But if you actually like want to pass school like I do, don't fucking skip. And at the end of the day, I did pass geometry with like an 83. But I definitely could have done better if I didn't fucking skip tutoring. But anyways, the whole moral, don't skip stuff that's beneficial. It's not worth your time, and you're gonna regret it after.